violence.
Amazon found a Jeff Bezos sent it.
Our education over here.
With the internet, you have millions of people creating their own content and millions of people consuming this content. And for the most part, they're communicating fairly directly with each other. Now, there are some virtual center points like Google and Facebook, but apart from that, the communications are basically many-to-many in an end-to-end network. And that makes it fundamentally difficult to censor.
It can empower a government to repress an insurrection. It can empower the insurrection itself. It's a double-edged sword. Look what happened in Iran. You had this groundswell of popular support expressed on Twitter, for example, and through blogs. And the regime, Ahmadinejad, began using Twitter against his opponents very effectively, spreading horrendous lies and misinformation, bites of misinformation by the thousands.
It is clear that as the world becomes more connected, there will be the opportunity for nations to do bad things to each other.
If you shoot a missile at a sort of a NATO country's electrical plant, that is an act of war. Article 5 says, okay, we've been attacked. We all now go and attack the country that, or whoever attacked the electrical system. But if you take out the same electrical system with a cyber attack, so you don't know who did it, you can have a guess, but you don't really know who did it. And secondly, what is the response?
There's been an awful lot of hype about the concept of cyber war, particularly in the past 10 years, and particularly since 9/11.
Security, they're saying this malware was inserted by hackers believed to be sponsored by the Russian government, represents a very serious threat.
Cyber attack against the U.S. power grid by a terror group is a very real national security threat, one that could cripple governments.
Imagine what a set of systematic cyber attacks might do. So this is also a matter of public safety.
Are we defenseless against what this seems to be an increase of cyber attacks? Well, to discuss is Robert McFarlane.
Every day, this is how America comes under attack.
This is war. There's no other way to really just...
You can do basically all of the bad things that a war does without using dynamite, TNT, missiles.
They're increasingly pursuing the capability to launch destructive cyber attacks, as opposed to the disruptive kinds that you normally see online through protesters, through activists.
The Chinese, we've seen activities from the Iranians who are using cyber to try to conduct both destructive and espionage-type cyber attacks. And the threat is real and it's serious.
And this is a pivot that is going to be very difficult for us to navigate.
There are all sorts of people who see the internet as a threat and who want to control it using whichever excuse will work in the politics of the day.
I'm signing a new executive order to promote even more information sharing about cyber threats, both within the private sector and between government and the private sector.
The NSA now claims that it has thwarted 50 terror plots in 20 countries, including 10 that were homeland-based threats.
One of the biggest innovations in surveillance in the past few years has come about as a result of the spread of social networking sites and of social facilities and all sorts of other sites. Because once people make visible who their friends are, it's possible to do clustering analysis and start looking for covert communities. Information on who is whose friend is available on sites like Facebook and the 40 other such sites that there are worldwide. And this is an enormously powerful tool in the hands of the police and intelligence services in finding out who adheres to some particular disliked belief, be that Islamism or in China a love of democracy or whatever.
I think the internet empowers anyone who can use it, and it empowers the people who can use it most effectively even more.